Now available in paperback and Kindle, All About Marilyn. Learn all about the struggles of a faded former teen sitcom star in this absolutely fabulous 5-star screenplay. Get All About Marilyn in paperback and Kindle on Amazon.com today.
Hollywood Historical Men in Crisis. One of my viewers wanted me to do another installment in the Historical Men in Crisis series. And for this installment in the Historical Men in Crisis series, I'm going to be talking about Academy Award-winning actor Spencer Tracy. All images used in this video are under fair use of United States copyright law of 1976 and are used in conjunction with my commentary. Now, Spencer Tracy is one of the most celebrated and acclaimed actors of the 20th century. Unfortunately, even though he has gotten a lot of acclaim for his performances and has won multiple Golden Globes and BAFTA Awards and an Academy Award, Spencer Tracy, even in spite of the success, was a man in crisis. Now, Spencer Tracy started out on the road to becoming a man in crisis as he was raised by a beta male father, truck salesman John Edward Tracy, in a home where he was taught Catholicism, and sadly, because his father had issues with alcohol, these issues with alcohol sadly were passed on to him, and these issues were passed on to him because his father didn't really know how to raise a boy to become a man, and like his father, he went on to become a man in crisis as well. Now, Spencer Tracy was a hyperactive child who didn't really attend school regularly, and because he was just completely out of control, because he had no order or structure in his life, he was placed in the care of Dominican order nuns at 9 years old, and this was an effort to try to change his hyperactive behavior so that he could learn how to become disciplined. And it really possibly didn't have much of an impact because he said he wouldn't have gone back to school if he could learn how to read subtitles in movies. Now, movies were the thing that were a major focus for Spencer Tracy, and they were the thing that led to him having a motivation for a career. Now, he attended several Jesuit academies in his teenage years, which he said gave him some discipline and helped him improve his grades, but it was at Marquette Academy that he met his lifelong friend, fellow actor Pat O'Brien, who sparked his interest in theater. And it was that interest in theater that gave Spencer Tracy a purpose and a direction as he was entering into the military, as related to being students at the Naval Trading Station in around World War I. And he never went to sea, he did go out here and do his service to his country, and he wanted to please his father by getting a college degree. So he finished his high school diploma and then went out here and got some war credits that allowed him to go to Ripon College, and he went to Ripon College with his intention to major in medicine, but eventually wound up going out here and further getting into his interest in the theater, where he starred in a play as the male lead in The Truth, and this sparked his passion for acting again. And he also expelled with public speaking as related to debating, and eventually went on to continue going on with his acting, and then left Ripon College and began classes at AADA in 1922, and eventually wound up graduating from AADA in March 1923, pleasing his father, but not finding the satisfaction he wanted in life, and as he was going on with his life. Now, after graduating, he went and joined a stock theater company, and then later on, eventually started landing parts in Broadway, and this led to people learning a bit more about Spencer Tracy, who was, again, well, after the play wound up failing, he wound up living on 35 cents a day, struggling at a company in New Jersey for a while, then eventually wound up getting a leading role in a acting company in Winnipeg. He was still just trying to find his way as an actor and still trying to find roles in theater before eventually moving into the world of film and he was one of the first actors scouted to star in sound films in 1935, because film was silent before then, and now film is now was starting to have sound. And he really didn't want to go into becoming a film actor, but decided to go out here and take the roles in film acting, and eventually wound up starting work with Fox. Now, as he started work with Fox, Fox was working to make him into a bankable commodity. However, Spencer Tracy was struggling with issues as related to his personal life, and it was those issues as related to his personal life that further led to him becoming a man in crisis. Now, Spencer Tracy, in his personal life, was married to Louise Treadwell, and as they were members of the Wood Players in White Plains, New York, and the couple went out here and married on September 10th in 1923. That year, between the matinee and evening performances of a show, and they had a son, John Ten Boak Tracy, who was born in 1924, and unfortunately, when the boy was 10 months old, his wife, Louise, found out that the boy was deaf, and she didn't tell Spencer Tracy for 3 months, and this basically devastated Spencer Tracy, who felt guilty about his son's deafness because he believed that it was his seed that led to the boy being deaf, not understanding that children, sometimes this just happens, and you just have to live and adapt to it. And because Spencer Tracy wanted to live in a smooth world where he wanted to have a son who was healthy, he couldn't deal with the fact that his son's whole biology had changed, and his son was deaf at the time, and he blamed himself for the boy being deaf and started to distance himself from his family. And this is what happens with many beta males. Many beta males cannot go out here and cope with an issue because they take it personally as related to things going wrong, and because things go wrong as related to something in their lives, what happens is, instead of trying to stand and work with their members of their family towards helping a child go out here and live the best life, these men start distancing themselves from their families, and they go out here and try to escape through alcohol or drugs. And this basically was what happened with Spencer Tracy. He, in some ways, basically felt betrayed by his wife for not telling him about his son. And this basically, at the time, because a son was considered to be the heir of a family, this basically crushed Spencer Tracy as a man and took him further down the road to becoming a man in crisis. Because as he was out here just feeling betrayed as related to his wife, he then started putting further distance between himself, and then basically walked away from his family. And as he walked away from his 2 children, what happened was he started going out here and participating in affairs with actresses like Loretta Young and Myrna Loy and Ingrid Bergman. And as Spencer Tracy was out here having relationships with other women, he was looking to find a place to find solace for the issues he was having as related to the betrayal he had with Louise Treadwell, but could not find that kind of love because he didn't deal with his hurts. And because he didn't deal with his hurts, many women, they tried to love him, but the problem was that Spencer Tracy didn't love himself, and this is why he went out here having affairs with women like Loretta Young and Myrna Loy and Joan Crawford and Ingrid Bergman. He went out here having these affairs because he could not go out here and connect with anyone, and he had gotten to the point where he had moved away from his family and was living away from them because he felt no connection to anyone, because he was just deeply hurt. And again, deeply hurt because of the betrayal of his first wife. And again, that betrayal was because he wanted to live in a smooth world where everything would go right with his family. When everything went wrong, he felt guilty about it, and he tried to escape through these affairs. He tried to escape through alcohol. He tried to escape through drugs. And eventually, as he was trying to escape with things, he wound up having a relationship with Katharine Hepburn. And as he had this relationship with Katharine Hepburn, where she was basically his side piece, what happened was Spencer Tracy was looking to go out here and tried to have this relationship. And again, the studios went out here and spun their relationship, even though Spencer Tracy never divorced his wife. He went out here and still was out here having a relationship with Katharine Hepburn, and it was marketed as a relationship in their media, and it was marketed as a part of the business, but it just masks the whole situation of Spencer Tracy being this man in crisis. Now, again, Spencer Tracy fits everything I talk about in my chapter, Addiction and the Man Crisis, and he was a man who was addicted to alcohol, addicted to smoking cigarettes and taking pills, and again, all of these things were things he was looking to escape as related to the pain he was dealing with as related to his son's disability and his feelings of inadequacy as related to his son, because he was feeling inadequate as related to what went on with his son. This is what led to him winding up on a road to having depression, anxiety, and insomnia as related to the stresses he was having, and looking to find dependence on barbiturates to sleep and dexedrine to go out here and function. So he was taking pills to get up and pills to get down. And again, addiction was a major part of his life because alcohol is addiction. And again, people were wondering what was leading to his unhappiness. But what led to Spencer Tracy's unhappiness, as I see it, was he was hoping to have a relationship with his son. He thought that he wanted to get close to his son. Unfortunately, because his son had a disability, he felt that he took it personally. And because he took it personally, he felt like he could have no peace, because he felt like, oh, there's something wrong with my seed, because my first son, my heir, is deaf. And what's worse is my wife didn't trust me enough to tell me about this. She hid this from me. And this is, again, what crushed Spencer Tracy on the inside, leading to him to not turn to his wife, because his wife did not turn to him. No, instead of his wife turning to him, she hid things from him. And this is what led to Spencer Tracy turning away from his wife to become a man in crisis who turned to women, drugs, and alcohol in order to try to go out here and have that storied career. But he could not enjoy that storied career because his whole world was completely disrupted. Spencer Tracy had one of the greatest careers as related to Hollywood. Unfortunately, he could never enjoy Hollywood or the career as related to entertainment, and he couldn't enjoy it because he was just, again, deeply depressed and felt hurt about about what his wife did to him. And this is what led to Spencer Tracy winding up on this road to not really living very peacefully. I mean, he went out here and was struggling with all sorts of different things as related to the addictions, and almost died in 1965 as related to the drinking and the things, because he had become overweight. He had heart issues and diabetes, and he almost died in 1965 and spent the night in a coma. And he recovered, but went on for the next 2 years, living a quiet life with Katharine Hepburn, and eventually working on his last film, which was Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Now, 17 days after Spencer Tracy made Guess Who's Coming to Dinner and filmed the final scenes, he woke at 3 a.m. to make himself a cup of tea in his apartment in Beverly Hills, and this is where he wound up sadly losing his life. He was going out to make this tea, then a cup smashed to the floor, with Katharine Hepburn said she found, and she found Spencer Tracy dead of a heart attack at 67 years old, and she said he looked to be happy because he could finally get away from life, where he had suffered so much and had been miserable for his life. This is what Katharine Hepburn recalls, but a publicist said that he had been alone when he died. But the whole thing is Spencer Tracy suffered so much, and he suffered basically as related to the betrayal he felt as related to his first wife, the hurt he felt as related to his first wife, And it was that betrayal that I believe led to Spencer Tracy winding up on the road to becoming a celebrated actor who was a man in crisis. Now, if you want to learn more about what leads to men winding up on the road to becoming men in crisis, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can send a donation to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you have a historical man in crisis you want me to talk about, if you send me a donation, I will make a video about that man for you. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.
Now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today.
Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Now available for the first time on Google Play, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are falling apart in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy on Google Play today.